Welcome to Packmates, a podcast about Magic the Gathering Limited, where we take a deep dive into the current limited formats. The Packmates are a group of friends that love drafting, hanging out, and going F&M to get that 3-0. I'm Ryan, the resident aggro expert.
I'm Robi, the resident turtle expert.
And
we're the Packmates.
We are the Packmates. Gotcha that time. Make sure you guys check out our socials. They'll be posted in the description. Today we're just going to talk about how the pre-release went, and there's a couple things that we are looking forward to, or some interesting things that we noticed about the format that we think is going to happen, I guess. Right?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
All right. And I'm going to go first at the pre-release talk. And
why is that, Ryan?
I think we all know why. Got that when that
I do better.
Went that sweet 301, got second. You do. We need to work on your sealed game, Robi, for sure.
I don't want it to be good.
You don't want it to be good. You just want to. That's fine. I just
want to lose every sealed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. I was black green prototypes, just big stuff deck, and rares, and this is basically one of the easiest decks I've ever built off a sealed pool, because my sealed pool was like, here's a bunch of black and green rares, and yeah, it all just goes together. I had to cut so many cards. It was crazy. It was super hard to do. I had a fairly, I would say, very weird curve. I had 3 1 and 2 drops. So 2 1 drops, 1 2 drop, 3 3 drops, 3 4 drops, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 5+ drops up to 10. I was just playing big stuff. Obviously, a lot of that stuff, most of that stuff was prototypes, so I could play it smaller if I needed to. Spoiler alert, almost never needed to. Always played it as the big thing. And then just turned my guy sideways and won. Lots of games. Was the aggressor most of the time. Never really. I think I dropped like a game. Yeah, I only dropped 1 game. And then the draw we just did, it was kind of like an agreed to draw, and we played it out for fun, and then I smashed him. So it was a super good deck. I only had 3 pieces of removal in the deck. Disfigure, which is -2/-2 instant. The Power Stone Fracture, you can sack a creature artifact and destroy a creature. And then Shoot Down, which is the 4-mana green sorcery. We can exile an artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying. The deck was just making big stuff. It was mid-rangey. What's up?
Gix's Caress?
Gix's Caress is kind of removal. Like, I don't count it. That's the 3-mana, look at their hand, make them discard any card you choose, and make a Power Stone. That was actually very good. Gix's Crest was very good, but the majority of my work came in just from my big dudes, and surprisingly, I didn't have almost any Power Stone generation, really. Like, if you look at my deck, I had the rare land that you can pay for and tap it to make Power Stones. I also had Blast Zone as part of my remove, I should say. That's the XX land that kills stuff. That was very good. But as far as ramping, all I had was the land I could pay for and tap it to make Power Stones. I had the Gix's Caress that makes a Power Stone.
Oh, that's a bomb, though. The land.
The land
I didn't even see that. Yeah, that's disgusting.
I had the Quicksilver Amulet to cheat stuff in. That's 4 mana, and you can just put something from your hand into the battlefield. That was actually still bad, even though in this deck, I only drew it once, and it was like, sure. But I would not recommend playing it. I had Ashnod's Mechanist is the 1/1 for 1 Death Touch, and whenever you attack, whenever it attacks, you can sack a creature, and if you do, make a tap Power Stone. I never use that to make a Power Stone, literally ever. I did use it to make 3/3 zombies though, and that was very good because it also has an ability where you can pay 5, exile a creature card from your graveyard, and make a 3/3 artifact zombie. That was super good. But the main way I was getting stuff in was just with Sentinel Steward. That's the 1/1 for a green. They can tap it and another artifact or creature to add a mana to ramp you. And then like 1 Power Stone was often basically enough. I did have a ton of kind of draw in this green black deck, which is weird to think. I also had Foundry Inspector. That's a 3-mana 3/2 that makes artifacts cost 1 less. That was super good. That mixed with the Sentinel Steward 1 game was letting me play 7 drops on turn 5, which was absolutely disgusting. Lots of life gain. Obstinate Bailout, the 4/4 for 4 that lets you gain 4 life when it enters the battlefield. The deck was just nuts. It was just big stuff and draw and a little bit of removal. I don't know what else to say about it. It was just super good.
It's pretty stupid. Must be nice to get a good seal pool.
I mean, I make every sealed play get look good. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of what I do. It's like I'm like exhibit, and sealed pools are like pimp my
You
ride,
have
kind
a
of.
lot of on-color rares and
I
mythics.
do, I do.
Yeah, like that's
So
real stupid.
let's talk about those real quick and which ones I think were the best. 'Cause I think I drew all of them. So I had the 1/1 guy, the 1/1 Death Touch that made 3/3 zombies for 5. And whenever he attacks, you can sack another creature, make a Power Stone. Making 3/3 zombies for 5 tapped was super good by exile and stuff. Like it was just a great use of Power Stones, especially when I didn't have anything else to do. It was just super good. I had the 2/1 for 3 that when it enters the battlefield, put 2/1/1 counters on something, and it has flashback for 2 and double green. Simeon Simulacrum. Absolutely insane. Close some games almost by itself. 3 mana 4/3, attacking and sealed on turn 3. Gets easily 12
Oh,
points of
it's
damage in,
stupid.
and then trades with something. It was insane.
Yeah,
Uh
the green guy. The
yeah.
ape.
Yeah, the ape, the Simeon ape
Yeah.
that's dabbing on him. He was
Yeah.
super good. Gix is the Gix Yawgmoth Praetors, a 3 mana colorless double black 3/3. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, you can pay a life and draw a card, and then you can pay 7 and discard some cards, and you can play cards off the top of their library for free. Don't do that because your deck's gonna be better than theirs if you have Gix. But drawing cards for 1 life, super good. Dummy good. 3/3 for 3, also good. Demanded removal and let me draw several cards each time it was played. Transmogrit's Crown, they had to trade with it because they couldn't take the damage, and it drew me cards. That's the 2 mana artifact that you can equip for 2 or a black, and it gives +2/+0. And whenever a equipped creature dies, draw a card. Like all my 1/1s turn into 3/1s and start attacking, and they're already weak life total. They trade down, and I draw a card. Just super insane. Quicksilver Amulet was bad. 4 mana, put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. Like it was kind of a crutch because I knew I didn't have enough Power Stones, but like it turned out I did have enough Power Stones, I guess, somehow. Even looking at this, I'm still kind of in disbelief that I cast 10/10 Reach Tramplers for 10.
Yeah.
But I did it several times. Like
It's sealed, right?
yeah, it's sealed. It's
Yeah,
sealed.
it helps.
Blanchwood Prowler was super good with that. That's the 2 mana 1/1 that when it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards and you can get a land that you milled that way or make it a 2/2. Super good in helping you hit those land drops. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You have any
Yeah.
questions?
I know. It's like the most straightforward deck.
Yeah, this is big shit.
There's no weird shit going on at all.
I was like, I will say, I think it's Boulder Branch Golem. It's a 7 mana prototype, and it's a
The one that gains your life.
6/5. Yeah, it's a 6/5 for 7 or a 3/3 for 4, and you gain life equal to its power. Absolutely backbreaking against aggro. Like absolutely backbreaking any point in the game.
Yeah, I strongly considered putting that in my deck, but I ended up not. I think that might have been a mistake.
All the other ones were kind of, I want to say replaceable, like Rust Goliath. Like just having big dudes was like enough. It didn't matter if they had trample or, it didn't really matter what they did. Honestly, they're just
Yeah.
big and they swung.
Yep.
But yep, that's the deck. Blast Zone, one of the top rares in the set, though I think.
You have the Courser. That was insane, right?
Yeah,
Was it?
so the Courser's the 5 mana 4/5, and when it attacks, if you have 3 creatures in the yard, draw a card. Yeah, I mean I think the only time I played it, it got removed. I think it got pacified basically really quick, and then later I just shot down the pacifism to end the game with it. But yeah, I mean it was scary enough because I had 3 in the yard easily, so it was scary enough that people had to deal with it. Also, I do want to say Emergency Well, the 2 mana 1/1 sorcery that makes a 1/1 that gets
Busted.
creature back. Busted. Yeah, busted.
Yeah.
Disfigure felt better than I thought it was gonna be too.
Yeah, Disfigure has always been good.
Yep.
Yep.
But the key takeaway, the 1/1 green dude for 1. He's worth it.
The one
He's worth
green
it.
guy that you tap an artifact.
Yeah, he's worth it.
Yeah, that seems worth it.
That's the
I've
biggest
always thought
takeaway
was good.
that I got from this.
Yeah,
deck.
that guy checks out to me.
And the mill stuff, I hit like every time. Like sometimes with the mill stuff too, like I just chose to put the counter on, even though I hit. Like
Yeah.
the mill stuff's
Yeah,
just
that
good.
checks out.
The mill
Yeah.
3 and get a card, they're just good.
Yeah.
Oh, Hoarding Recluse 2/3 reach with Death Touch was good too.
Yeah.
It was fine.
mean,
It wasn't
that's
amazing,
good.
but it was
Yeah,
solid.
it's like mid, right?
Yeah,
It's
but it
hard to deal with. I had an opponent play it against me.
yeah, it's just solid. Yeah, it's hard to deal with, and if you have any tricks at all to back it up, it's just kind of disgusting.
Yep.
That's the
checks out
deck,
to me.
and I cut down to basically 39 because I had Mishra's Bobby, and you guys told me 2 last week, and it worked out really good.
Yeah, we're right. We're right.
Yep.
All right. So I didn't do as good in my sealed. I went 2-2, which is bad, but I just ended up with You know how Ryan has like a nice, neat little pile? I just have the jankiest. This is like every sealed deck I've ever built. It just makes zero sense. There's a bunch of random bombs in different colors. We didn't all get perfectly on color rares.
Yeah.
I, so I basically had it was basically a blue white deck, but I was also splashing red, and I also had a swamp in my deck too.
What was the
And
swamp for to flashback the Rager? Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
flashback the Rager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also had a chromatic star and energy refractor too, just to
Okay.
do that. But yeah, I just have like a mishmash of stuff. I have a lot of removal, but yeah, my bombs were basically I had the what's it called?
The leveler.
The
Cityscape
cityscape
leveler.
leveler,
Which
which
is
was
insane.
disgustingly good.
Yeah,
But
that's
like it
insane.
was like my only real bomb, right?
Best
But
mythic in the format, you think?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I
It's
think so too.
real stupid.
And what does
Like if
that
they
one do?
can't kill it instantly, okay. It ulamogs. So like whenever you cast it, it destroys any target permanent, non-land permanent.
And it's an 8/8 trample for 8, right?
It's 8-day trample for 8. And your opponent gets to make a tapped power stone, which is like super irrelevant. Like it's already late enough, you're good. Like
Yeah, you already
and
cast an 8
then
mana
it
stone.
also has unearth for 8.
Oh, also
Which is
whenever it attacks though,
bad.
right? It's not
Yeah,
only when
whenever
you
it
cast
attacks,
it, it's
yes.
also when you cast it. Or when it
It's also
attacks,
when it
sorry.
attacks, yeah. So
And then you get it unearthed for 8 too.
I got to a point
Someone
where
tried to unearth and say that counted as casting. I was like, no, 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 no,
no,
no.
it has to attack. Yeah. Yeah, I got an opponent at one point to the point where I was just destroying their untapped Power Stone tokens to make tapped ones because they had no other permanents on the battlefield.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
How
that
are they
card's
still
stupid.
alive?
Who knows?
That's
Fog of War.
hilarious. Yeah.
No, nobody
No.
played that. Nobody played that.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that card was good. It's just like that was it. That was like the best card in my deck. I also had the Autonomous Assembler. That was pretty good. It was okay. And
Which one's that one?
that's the 5 mana. You can tap it for 1 mana and put a counter on a assembly worker creature. And it also has prototype for 3. I never prototyped it once.
That's the vigilance one, the
Yep,
4/5.
the Vigilance 4/5. Yep.
Okay. And then what is it if you prototype it?
It's a 2/2.
It's a 2/2 for 2?
Or maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Okay.
Maybe 3. I don't know. Don't quote
That
me.
thing was annoying to play with. That's actually the one thing that I lost to.
Yeah, that card's good. That
Yeah.
card was good. I kind of had like a little bit of like a assembly worker theme. So I had the self-assembler, which went and got any of my assembly workers, and I had 3 other assembly workers. So
Which other
I
ones
had
did you have?
the power plant worker, the 5 mana. You can tap it for 2 mana and give it +2 plus for 3 mana and give it +2/+2. And then it trons if you have all of them, which it's sealed.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then the mine worker, which is the 2/1.
That you gain a
If you
life.
gain a life, you can tap it and gain a life.
How
And
was the
that was
power plant worker? It seems fine.
power plant worker's fine. Mine worker's terrible.
Yeah, that checks
It's just
out.
a 2/1. Power plant worker's a 4/4, which is just like good and sealed, right?
Yeah, 4/4 for 5 is fine with some upside of being able to pump it. You can pump it multiple times, right? Or is it only once?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. At that reasonable cost, you could pump it 2 or 3 times with power stones, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It wasn't bad. Like I pumped it a couple times. I think I've pumped it 3 times one time.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
One cute interaction that I had is I won a game off someone by destroying their only blue source with Goblin Firebomb. Because
Ooh.
you can target lands with it.
Yeah, you can.
I won a game off that.
Wow.
Yeah, like that was a cute little interaction. Still went 2/2, but we outsmarted someone.
I had to call it judge because I had Blast Zone and they had a prototyped the 5/4 Death Touch, or it's a 1/1 for 2. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they had prototyped it as a 1/1 for 2. What do you think its converted mana cost is? 7 or
8,
2?
7.
That's actually 6. Sorry, 6 or 2. But yeah, it was
6.
6. It's 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, that checks out to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I thought, but like I
You
didn't
weren't
want
sure.
it. I didn't want it to work that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, which makes that white card even worse, honestly.
Yeah. Levitating statue was real good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I was
That
gonna
was
ask about
good.
the firebomb.
The firebomb kind of like it's good and sealed. Like it's
Yeah.
like if you have nothing else to put in your deck, like a firebomb is not the end of the world.
Do you think it's like a payoff for the actual Power Stone
No,
deck? Like you think it's
no, not
no?
really.
Okay.
Maybe it's kind of like what's that like random like 9 mana sorcery speed removal that Tron plays.
I
That's like
don't know.
super bad in everything, but it exiles any permanent.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know.
but Tron plays it because it's like 9 mana and colorless. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of remind me of that. I don't know. It might
What
be.
what was your absolute worst card that you just hated having in your hand?
The Thopter never really felt that good. Spotter Thopter, paying like
Got it.
4 mana.
Which one was? Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't that good. It
Okay.
felt like a worse Modern Age.
Were you almost
It
never
felt like
able to cast it for 8?
I never once cast it for 8.
You never once cast it for 8.
Yeah.
I feel like you only want that if you can sometimes cast it for 8.
I
Is
was
my
trying
take on
to.
it.
Like I just didn't have enough Power Stone stuff.
Yeah.
I had like
I do
Urza's
think that's
Power
one of
Stone
the
Prodigy.
worst. That's one of the worst, I think, creatures if you have to prototype it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you ever want to do that. But like, I think the 4/5 flyer and Scry 4, I think that's super powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Coastal Bulwark, the 2 mana 1/3 that if you have an island, it's a 3/3 defender?
It was okay.
That was okay.
It was okay. It was actually pretty decent because I was surveilling with it quite a bit, but
Yeah.
just like it's sealed, right?
Right.
I had the surveil land too. That was kind of good too.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I just
What
wish
a
I had like more of like a theme.
Yeah, it seems like you're kind of all over the place.
It's just sealed. That bad is sealed.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had more time to look at your pool, but I was just all
Nah,
over.
I was
I
looking
was
at
trying to
everyone else's
refine
pool
mine
too.
too.
I was running 43 cards, right?
Yeah, doesn't that defeat the point of Mishra's Bobby? Like,
No, it's fine.
isn't the whole point of Mishra's Bobby to make your
No,
deck smaller?
I like to look at what my opponents are doing.
Oh, okay.
I like to see their next card.
What about Combat Courier? How was that? That's the 1 mana
It
one
was
one.
cute and kind of decent. So the reason why I liked Combat Courier because a lot of times it turned on my Machine Over Matter. I had a couple other creatures to
What's
do it.
Machine Over Matter? I forgot.
The 1 mana unsummon.
Oh
That
yeah,
only
yeah.
cost 1 mana.
How good
Yeah,
was that?
it was decent. It was good. It wasn't as good as like a Disenchant
Hmm.
or like a Obliterating Bowl was usually pretty good.
Okay.
I
Did
had
it did
Mishra's
it
Command.
did it feel like Obliterating Bolt did enough? That's one that deals 4, right?
Yeah, it did.
Colorless and a red.
It did
Okay.
most of the time because like I kind of knew that like it what I had stuff to deal with, big stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the prison sentence and the disenchant and
Yeah.
the firebomb, right?
Yep.
And Mishra's command, which was the rare that does a million things.
Yeah. X,
But
the X and the red
it was
one.
pretty, yeah, it was pretty decent. It X is like fireball. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Do you stand behind Scrapwork Rager in a non-black deck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fetched him back quite a bit too.
Well,
For
yeah,
some
you had quite a
reason,
bit of fixing, really.
For some reason, my mana was literally always good in
Yeah,
every
mine too.
game. I just lost because my deck was bad, which feels even worse, right?
Yeah.
Like, like my mana was perfect every single game.
Yeah, that
I was like
sucks.
trotting out so easy,
You
but
have
then
no
just losing.
excuse.
Yeah,
Oh
it
man.
wasn't my mana. I did have a
This
shit ton of
it
fixes.
looks like honestly, like if I looked at this, it looks like you just have a lack of top end and sealed.
Yeah,
I mean, you had some decent top end, but like you
I
didn't
should have
really
played
have a
more.
way to bridge the
I
gap from
should have
5 to
played the
8.
green guy, the one that gained you life.
Yeah, yeah, that could have been
I
good.
had one and I almost put it in there, but I ended up cutting it.
Did you find it was pretty hard for you to get from like 6 mana to 8 mana?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it genuinely was.
yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like it'd be pretty easy to get to 6 with this deck, but
Not 8, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wonder how many like Power Stone generations you really need to reliably cast Jose. Because I think it's lower than people think. I think it's like 4 or 5 cards that make Power Stones. That's it.
Yeah, I was making some Power Stones a
Yeah,
little
but
bit.
and whenever that happened, like it was way easier to get to
I
8,
was already
right?
winning, right? Like I was winning. If I
Yeah,
could make power, if I drew like Urza.
yeah. There's
I
just a little.
did, I will say I did activate Third Path Savant probably like 6 or 7 times over the night.
Your just card quality wasn't good enough for it to win you the game, or what?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so. Apparently,
yeah. I
and
mean, when
I
you were
did have
activating it, did you win, or was it not enough?
uh uh. It was like 50-50 because like sometimes I would have to activate it because I was fucked. Like I couldn't do anything.
How much does it cost to
And
activate, and what does it do again?
7 mana to draw 2 cards.
7 mana to draw 2 cards. It's the 3 mana 2/3 in blue.
Yeah, and if I
Yeah.
ever did it while I was ahead, it was disgusting.
Yeah. Like,
I
did you
don't
ever have
know
to
what
like chump with it and draw 2 cards and just hope you had
Yeah,
something? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's like it's not necessarily the payoff you want, it just helps you find your other payoffs if you don't happen to draw them. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I
I
don't know.
will say too, I never thought I'd ever say this, but I did use the second ability on Urza's rebuff, the 3 mana cancel that also taps 2 creatures. If
Oh yeah, that's good.
it was kind of good, like
It won you the game, right?
it won me a game, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's why it's there.
it was kind of cute. Like I never thought I'd ever use it, but
Like, I think that's why it's actually a playable cancel, because you can save, like, when there's a victory line in sight, right? Like,
yeah,
when you have a lethal line, you can save it up to preserve the board in case they do something that disrupts it, or you can basically end the game like a turn earlier.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I liked it. It seemed pretty good.
That's the one that,
It gave you like whole new lines you didn't have access to, right?
yeah, I think it's fine. I do
Yeah.
like it.
I
Because, I
don't know.
mean,
I don't
like
know about
Strixhaven, I don't know. I guess it's nowhere near as good as the white one in
yeah.
Strixhaven. The white one that tap two and let you
Oh
learn.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
that one
one
was
that
insane. Never mind.
Swiftfoot Boots is kind of mid.
Oh, I think you just did it
I have
wrong.
some stuff in my deck to do to like
Yeah, I don't think it goes in your deck. It would be insane with the leveler though.
yeah, wouldn't it? Like I was
Yeah.
thinking, right? That's the only reason why it's in my deck.
Yeah, it would
But
be insane with the leveler.
kind of, but like would it even? Because like by the time Leveler comes out, most of the time people could like kill it in blocks.
Yeah, but like, just imagine that they fully tapped out and they have like two 10/10s, and you just Swiftfoot Boots attack like leveler, like cast it, kill a 10/10, Swiftfoot Boots attack, kill a 10/10. Like, that's just absurd. You know what I mean? Like,
You don't kill if they have two Tintins, you can only
yeah,
kill.
when it attacks, you kill one too. You cast and
Oh
on
yeah,
attack.
yeah. You're right. Even
Yeah, Swiftfoot Boots would have been absolutely absurd with that guy. You kill her two best permanents, and
non-land permanents,
yeah,
not Goblin Firebomb.
it's not, guys. You heard it here first. Cityscape Leveler is no Goblin Firebomb, guys.
Yeah, that's all. I did have the one last super meaningless thing. I had the blue-eyed duel, and I looked every single board stat I played to see if I had any soldiers to activate it and give my soldiers +1/+1. I
Yeah,
have 0 soldiers in my deck.
yeah, that's what I think. That's
Like
what it looks
0.
like.
There isn't a single soldier in here, but I checked every single time too. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us about the removal in this format real quick?
Alrighty, well, I have it labeled. I have a nice little Robi chart here on the instant speed removal. There's actually a surprisingly low amount of it, which I kind of thought Ryan was full of it the first time he said that, but it actually seems to be true that there's actually no good instant speed removal in this set.
I mean, there's good ones. There's just not very much.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very few and far between. Like it's
Yeah.
a surprisingly low amount. And so I did a nice little Robi chart super scientifically. I labeled it from good to mid to meh. And over here in the good category, I kind of like put it in order of like how good I actually thought they were. I think Disenchant is like premium removal in this set. Like there's so much horrifying things that Disenchant can just deal with.
And can you read the cards for us, just since
Oh,
it's like
just
a new
yeah,
set?
Disenchant, one in a white, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Instant.
That
These are
seems
all instants.
Yep, that seems
Yeah.
super premium in this set.
Okay.
Huge fan.
Second
Next,
best.
second best, I have overwhelming remorse. This is contingent with Ryan, which is 4 and a black and costs 1 less for each creature in your graveyard. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Still really good. Still very strong.
Yeah. I still think it's better than Disenchant, but
It costs 5 mana.
never. It never costs 5 mana. You just need one dude in your graveyard for it to cost 4. It
Yeah,
never it
it's
never
good.
costs
It's
5.
like super good. I also think that there's like plenty of like scary things that this doesn't kill though.
Like what?
Like the one artifact
Sack
that lets you
3.
that also the one that the super complicated blue one that like puts things on the bottom and
Yeah, it lets you
then
cast them. You get you a
yeah,
ton of card
exiles them.
advantage.
Yeah, that card's real stupid too. Like that card will just beat you.
Yeah, but there's also some things that Disenchant doesn't kill, right?
Yeah, yeah, like
Like
soldiers stuff.
little weak flyers that you really have to deal with or you're gonna lose, or like
Yeah, but like disenchant, I think like kills. It reminds me a lot of like it is basically destroy evil from the other set, right?
pretty much, yeah,
It's
sure.
like that good, right? Like it.
I do think there'll be some decks that it'll kind of blink on. Like the aggro decks, it'll kind of
Yeah,
blink on.
for sure. Like so did destroy evil, right?
Yeah.
The thing is it's just like when it's good, it's so efficiently deals with giant threats that like it's just so good.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
I
next up, oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
just say I'll concede that Disenchant will usually cost less than Overwhelming Remorse, but I still
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Overwhelming Remorse will be better
yeah.
personally. But we'll
Maybe.
see.
Yeah. Next up, I have probably for my third place is kind of tied between Machine Over Matter, the 1 mana. If you have an artifact creature unsummon that also hits any non-land permanent, that card seems pretty good.
Yeah, I do think it's gonna be super good.
And then Disfigure, which is 1 black mana. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Just super hyper efficient.
Yep.
Same with the it's like as good. It's like good for the same reason that Machine Over Matter is. It's like such good tempo and there's also more tricks you can do with it. Like you can mess up attacks with it and stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot. I do think Machine Over Matters would be really good. And you can get your prototype stuff back and cast it for its real cost too, but like I think that's pretty niche.
Yep. And then for the mid, this one's pretty contentious because this card's still very strong.
Yeah.
Go- like it might be a little obscene to put this in the mid category, but go for the throat, which is 1 and a black for an instant destroy target non-artifact creature. Yeah, it's good. It's super good. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of the big stuff is gonna be
Like
artifacts.
all the scary stuff that you're gonna have to have removal or else you just die is gonna be like big artifact creatures and stuff.
I mean, I don't think all of it is,
Not all of it, but like I think like the vast majority of it.
but I do think like Go for the Throat is significantly better than Disfigure, personally.
Yeah, that might be true.
But
That might be
that's
true.
that's that's like kind of nitpicking. I don't know if it's nitpicking a little bit. I think it's significantly better than Disfigure, honestly.
I love Disfigure though.
I
It's
mean, I
so
get it,
cute.
but there's no way you're ever taking Disfigure over Go for the Throat if they're in the same pack, like literally ever.
I might because I'm
Mm,
gonna have like 9,000 disenchants.
I don't think so. I mean, it's Go for the Throat's even better when you have 9,000 disenchants, right?
That is true. Right? Like they can't play anything against you.
Yeah.
like yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but next up I have the meh. These are the ones I would question. Like, dear listeners, just like question every time you put this in your deck, like why you're putting this in your deck, and if you really actually need it. The first one I have is Unleash Shell, which is 3 and double red for an instant that deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and 2 damage to that permanence controller. Super mid. So expensive.
I hate the name.
I don't like it either. It doesn't
People
make
are
sense.
laughing at it and think it's funny. I hate it.
I don't like it either. I don't like the art. I don't like that it's double red
I think it's
either.
good
But
enough, but yeah, I'm with you on the meh. It's
yeah,
like you're
just
playing that out of necessity, not because you want to
question
play
why you're
it.
putting this in your deck. And the other one, this one I like better than Unleash Shell, but I think it's maybe even worse. The Deadly Riposte, one and a white for an instant, deals 3 damage to target tapped creature and you gain 2 life. I think some decks actually want this more than some decks actually want Unleash Shell. Like if you're like a turbo do nothing deck, this might be playable, but
Yeah.
seems kind of sus. Seems
Yeah. I
kinda sus.
mean, 3 damage gain 2 life is like pretty good for 2.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I just don't know why. I just hate it. Like I just hate it.
It doesn't seem good enough, yeah.
The tap creature stuff, I mean, there's been 5 damage for 1, and that still wasn't good enough, right? Wasn't
I
there a set where there's like a 5
still,
deal? Yeah.
I still play like artillery blast. Like,
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, like
yeah,
I don't know what it is. I just don't like it.
yeah, I'm not a fan.
So I mean, like, yeah, the tap creature clause is just too much.
All right. And then next up, I have the sorcery speed removal. So, the best of the best. I have this also on a scale from good to mid. And I have sus on this one because there's a mega sus card here that we'll get to. But in the good category, I think the two best removal spells in this set as sorcery speed are Excavation Explosion, the 3 mana sorcery that deals 3 damage to any target. It can go face even, right? And
Yeah.
it also says create a tapped Power Stone token, which I think pushes that card like way over the edge.
Oh yeah, I think that's super good. I think that
Yeah.
might be one. Like that's right up there for me with like disenchant and overwhelming remorse.
Yep. And then the next one I have is Static Net, and that's the like Oblivion Ring that like also gains you like 2 life, and you create a Power Stone too. That card's insane. Just so much value. That's what I've noticed with like these cards. Like they just have so much extra utility and value in them. Like they're insane.
Yeah. Yeah, Static Net seems super good. I do think it's a little bit more vulnerable than even it was in the last set. Like we're gonna Static Net something and hope it stays dead and it's gonna get
Yeah,
it's gonna get blown up
yeah,
and
for
you're
sure.
gonna lose, but
But at least you'll have 2 life in a Power Stone. You
that's
know?
true. That's
That's
true.
more than you get from like every single other one of those random enchantments. Yep. All right, and then next I have Obliterating Bolt as like the third best removal spell. Maybe
Sorcery.
fourth. It's like between these two, between Obliterating Bolt, which is 1 and a red for a sorcery that deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and then if it dies, it's exiled. Pretty good. Pretty good. I played with it. It's decent. It's cheap enough that you don't feel bad that it's in it, that it's sorcery, but still kind of feels bad. But
Yeah, seems fine.
and then Weak Stone Subjugation, which is 1 blue and target permanent doesn't untap, or its target artifact or creature doesn't untap, and you can pay 3 to tap it.
See, I think this might be better than all of them, the sorcery
It
speed
might be.
ones.
It's so cheap. It's so incredibly cheap. Like so efficient. Oh no, you just don't get the Power Stone, and it suffers from like I don't know from the tax of being an enchantment.
Yeah, but with this one, when they disenchant it, their creature doesn't come back into the battlefield, re-trigger it ETBs, and block
Yeah,
your stuff. Like they
yeah.
just disenchant it and then they untap it on their turn. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think TBs are all that great in this set though.
I mean they're not, but it's still something. You know what I mean?
It's, yep,
Like there's some that gain 6 life, that's kind of big, or there's some that make 1/1s. Like there's not a ton of crazy ones, but
yep.
I
And
think
then
you're just less prone to get blown out with a subjugation because when they do finally disenchant it, they still can't block your stuff. You know what I
yep,
mean?
it's solid.
Yeah.
And then next up I have Bushwhack, which is 1 green. That's the one that you can find a land, any basic land, or it's also a fight spell. I wish this card was higher. I just don't think it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I have to play with it, but
I think this would be pretty damn good,
I think it's
honestly.
insane, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I still think like these other ones might just edge it out.
I would probably switch it with obliterating bolts. I
Obliterating
don't
Bolts,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know, dude. Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And then Prison Sentence. I hate Prison Sentence, but you do get a scry too. But I don't like these pacifisms.
Yeah. 3 mana
Like,
pacifism. We can try to enchant a creature can attack or
at least
block.
you get scry too. I played
At
it in
least
my.
it shuts down activated abilities too. That's something.
It doesn't shut down triggered abilities.
That's true.
Like, I, somebody prison sentenced my Urza's Power Stone Prodigy, and I was still able to make Power Stone tokens every time I discarded an artifact.
How did you discard artifacts otherwise?
There was a way. There with the rare in my deck, Mishra's Command. What you
Oh,
discard and draw, and I made a Power Stone out.
that's
It was the
hilarious.
cutest thing I've ever done. Yep. And the next one I have, now we're to the mid tier. And I might be wrong about these. These are just my first impressions. Lay down the arms. 1 mana swords to plowshares. I still think this is good, and I still think you want to play these.
Yeah.
But
So it
it
exiles
seems like
target
there's
creature with
a real cost to play.
it exiles target creature with mana value equal or less than the number of planes you control, which is usually gonna be
Yep.
like 4 or less in a normal
Yeah.
in like a full game, right?
Yeah. Which is good, but like I just have them in mid because they're the most conditional.
Yeah, they're kind of built around either conditional. I get
I
it.
don't think they're always good in every deck, right?
Sure. Yeah, I
Gotta
could buy
deal with
that.
the rest of them. And the next up is Power Stone Fracture, which is basically 2 mana. You can sack an artifact or creature to destroy target creature or planeswalker. Also build around the.
See, I thought that one was super good, but maybe it was just because I was sealed and didn't have anything else. You know
He
what I mean?
probably had like ways to turn it on, maybe, or
Yeah.
it might be good. It might be good. It might also be that obliterating bolt just kind of does the same thing,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
For less cost.
Yeah.
Then I still think that most of these are still good. Raise to the ground, which is 2 and a red. This spell can't be countered, and you can destroy target artifact. And if its value was 1 or less, draw a card. Super, super hyper conditional. I'm not crazy about it. It costs a
Are you
billion
starting
mana.
off with that in your deck, or are you just bringing it in
Probably
from the board?
not. We're getting into like maybe.
Yeah, I don't think you started off in your deck either.
Yeah. We're
Best of
getting in.
ones on Arena, I still don't even know if it's worth it, honestly.
We're getting into that territory.
Yeah. I think shoot down though you do. Like I did like shoot down a lot. It always had targets for me.
Yeah.
Shoot down's the 4 mana, three
That's
colors
right.
and a
I
green
think Shoot
sorcery.
Down probably is better than Raise to the Ground.
Yeah, and it
It just doesn't.
exiles target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying.
Yeah.
It's definitely not worth the 2 extra mana that so it can also hit creatures with flying. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Really
It,
isn't like
when
the
compared to
disenchant's like better.
disenchant, but it
Yeah.
was still pretty solid in my deck.
Being able to exile is real too.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that makes it worth it, but I do think like I would put it above prison sentence and under bushwhack. Honestly, is where I'd put it.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think the other ones are just quite a bit more efficient. Everything's more efficient, right?
Yeah, that one's a
4 mana,
little bit less efficient, but it is.
4 mana sorcery speed.
Yeah, like it's still solid
I like
though.
that
Like
stuff.
it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would definitely take it over prison sentence, lay down arms, power some fresh and race to the ground early. Like I definitely.
Yep. And next up, we're getting to the mega sus category. Like
Sus.
where I genuinely think you shouldn't put this in your deck. And I only have one card in this category. It is Corrupt. It is 5 and a black. Deals damage to any target equal to the number of swamps you control. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. I don't know about this one. It just raises my sus alarm.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be that good.
I don't either.
It
When
costs
someone
infinite
taps
mana.
6 mana and they kill my 3/3 and gain 3 life, I'm like, woo! I thought
Man,
I was about to lose.
yeah. Does not scare me in the slightest. Yeah, this is the extreme build around.
Yep.
And like, I don't know. If you can get that combo with this stupid little
Yeah,
two
that's
mana
cute.
artifact, yeah, you might be able to get there. I
Or if
don't
you're
like
mono
it.
black, obviously, like it's way better. But
Yeah. I don't know how realistic that is. It might be, but
yeah, I think there's gonna be 3 or 4 black drafters. Like
yeah.
I think black's a very strong color in this.
People are gonna get baited by all the mediocre black removal. Like
Probably.
Ryan.
I'm going to. Yeah.
Yeah. I
I'm going
won't. I won't.
and the
I'll never.
Phyrexian Razor with Unearth. Yeah. And the 2 mana Gravedigger. Yeah, I'm in there. Bro, I'm fully committed to that. I think black's the best color, but we'll see.
I probably will never play Corrupt with a deck with swamps in it.
How many swamps you need? 11?
I would only play it if I had the combo. like,
Yeah.
like, and I would put 0 in there just to be cute, right?
Yeah. Like I have to draw this other.
I have to have 0 just for the style points. But yeah,
That would be sick when someone's like,
that would
and
be
you're
the
like,
most beautiful thing to ever happen.
that will be the most scariest thing that you ever hear when someone's like, I'll sack I forget what it's called, the artifact. All my lands are swamps. You're like,
Like,
oh
yeah,
no. Oh no.
yeah,
You're counting their lands and it's equal to your life total. You're like, oh, here we go.
that's mega cute. But that's all I have for this. But yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, and now we have combat tricks. Those things are gonna blow you out in combat. You think you've won the battle, and then boom, you get desynchronized, or you get Lorwyn's escaped, and then they win the battle. Speaking of those things, let's start off with we'll start with the white combat tricks, and we'll start off with ambush paratrooper. It's one colorless, one white for a 1/2 human soldier. And what makes this a combat trick is that it has flash and it has flying, which is very good too. And then it also has an activated ability, which you can activate at any time for 5 mana. You can give +1/+1 to your creatures. This is going to definitely come into those situations. Creatures with flash like this traditionally become 2-for-1s, where you get the creature on the other side. So I think that's going to be really good. Yeah, I'm on this guy. I think I'm going to get blown out by this a couple of times too. And that colorless with your power stones on the 1/1 on the +1/+1 is going to be good too.
Yeah, I do feel like it's gonna be sometimes where people flash this in and pump their whole board, and they have one extra blocker than you thought, and all their dudes are one bigger, and that's gonna just feel bad.
I feel like this guy's going to be more at home when you're just doing this at the end of turn on somebody's turn, flashing in, you're winning the next turn because they didn't expect all your dudes to get +1/+1.
Yeah.
And
Or
that's
even
probably a good
yeah,
combat trick if they're dead.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, when your opponent has 3 cards left in their hand and they're white and they have like 8 mana with power stones, be careful.
Yeah, definitely be careful on that. Just yeah, don't want to attack into a ton of mana, especially if they're in white. Although if they only have 1 white up, the next card is going to be pretty intimidating too. It's Lauren's Escape for 1 white. It's an instant, and target artifact or creature gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn, and they stapled on a nice scry 1 to that, so we get a little look and maybe a look and tuck or like a look and keep, which is pretty nice. This cards like this have been pretty good. I recall something, it was in Kamigawa Tamio Safekeeping, ended up to be one of those combat tricks where you really had to respect it when they had 1 green up, and I think it's going to be very much the same in this set, and especially because it not only protects your creatures, but it also protects your artifacts.
Yeah. Do you think this is gonna be better than like God's Willing, given something
Um,
protection from a color?
no, I think God's Willing had a different kind of place. God's Willing's a little bit more aggressive than this one is, because God's Willing could just punch through damage, right?
Yep.
But this one is, I mean, this is definitely a little bit more defensive, but I feel it's more of a, you can still be aggressive with this, and maybe you kind of bluff them out with like a really bad attack or something, and then they think they're trading up, and then you can kind of get them. Although you don't really get them very well because you're only getting indestructible and hexproof. So I feel like it's more of just a save your creature spell than we'll blow them out. Unless you just got 1 big attacking creature, then you just blow them out.
Yeah. It's always good to have a copy or 2 of those if you're in white, right? You probably just want like 1, maybe 2
Yeah, I
max.
think so, and it's kinda cool because, like, you definitely will, like, I think 1, especially with the artifact protection in there, I think that's kinda nice to have just a little bit of extra, revoke the wicked or some sort of protect my onboard tricks, or if you happen to be really good and have the onboard Wrath of God, it's like, "I'm gonna disenchant that." "Nope, Lauren's Escape." "Okay, dang."
Yeah.
But also, it's kind of cool is you can also bluff the next card, which is Military Discipline, which is also 1 colorless, or 1 not colorless, 1 white, and it's an aura enchantment flash enchant creature. Now, what makes this a combat trick is not only the flash, but when Military Discipline enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains 1st strike until the end of turn, and you get a +1/+0 for that. And I think these cards like this, I think there was, what was the Duelist Dagger or something like that? Was that the one that gave +2/+1 and 1st strike for 1 red? Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't know. That sounds too good to be true.
It had a really high equip cost though. Look, I think it was cost 4 to equip it.
Yeah.
And maybe it was only gave +1, but it gave you 1st strike until the end of turn when it came into play.
Yeah, I remember the
And
equipment you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. And so this is kind of akin to that, except you only get to use this one time. You only get the 1st strike one time there, but you do get the +1/+0, which is pretty nice. But I think it's kind of fun to have 2 combat tricks that are kind of in the same, mana cost variety there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of cool to double bluff 1, or if you show 1 and you had the other, then your game 3 is going to be really, or your game 2 and 3 are going to be really fun.
Yeah, I
When
feel
they
like
try to get
Lauren's Escape is way more playable than Military Discipline, though. Like, I feel like you're gonna see way like
Yeah.
5 times the Lawrence escapes than you are the +1/+1 first strike for what?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think you only need one of those to put the fear in them for military discipline, but I think you end up gonna be playing the Lorwyn's Escape a little bit more. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty nice when you can pay 1 mana. It's so mana efficient too. For 1 mana to maybe stop a removal that they actually have. I think you went over the removal with, we just went over the removal with Robi and you with the sorcery and instant speed removal. And for
Yep.
1 white, boom, right there.
Blanket. Yep.
Kind of your spell.
Honestly.
And so I think it's kind of cool, but I'd pick my Lorwyn's Escape over my military discipline, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'd play more than one Lorwyn's Escape than I would the disciplines.
I feel like for the discipline, you just have to beat me with it for me to respect it. Honestly, like I'm just gonna assume you have Lawrence Escape, and if you happen to have military discipline instead, then
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, you know what I
If
mean?
you happen
Like,
to have like a lot of prowess creatures, I think that's kind of nice too, because then you get the prowess
yeah,
trigger and you get the +1 and the first strike.
the permanent
Those
+1.
guys typically just have some very nominal, they're really kind of small to begin with, anyways, because they
Yeah,
grow so big. So that might be good there. But, realistically, you're not going to play like a 3-color prowess deck, trying to maximize it all. But I think it'd be
yeah.
good. And then we also have Union of the Third Path in our combat tricks as well. It's 2 colorless and a white for an instant. Draw a card. Alrighty, good. So it replaces itself. And then you get to gain life equal to the number of cards in your hand. This is a save my life kind of trick. It's like
Yeah.
you think you got me, you don't.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a race ender, right? Like a race winner.
Yeah,
And your opponent's
absolutely.
doing the math. Like whenever you're doing the math and you're thinking I'm gonna win this race, and your opponent's still just swinging at you, also thinking they're gonna win that race.
Mhm.
That's when you have to sit back and think, am I gonna win this race? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is
There's so
one of
many
those
times when
cards that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's so many times when your opponent's there doing all this combat math, and they finally, E equals MC squared, and they figured out that they can attack you for lethal, and then you gain 1 or 2 life, and sometimes that's good enough because they'll full swing out thinking that they got you. They go through all the paces, but they forget that just a little life gain could just really mess with the combat math quite a bit, and then next thing you know, you're swinging for the win.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
plenty of games where I'm the stubborn one, and like my opponent swing at me. I'm like, okay, I'm swinging at you, and then they swing at me, and I swing at them, and we just keep swinging at each other. And I always think like I have enough to back up my stuff, and they always think they have enough to back up their stuff. This is one of the cards that you're just not gonna anticipate losing to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think it's kind of cool to buy you some time if you're kind of trying to go to those higher prototypes too,
Yeah.
and you're really just kind of sitting there like a more control-y type deck with those O3, was it the O3 that draws a card in blue, or maybe make it a 1/4 if you didn't get the card from it, just trying to go later into the game. And this might be good too. You just draw, you gain 7 life and draw
So
a card.
the thing I think about is there's always this white, not always, but a lot of times there's this white 3 mana creature that's like understated that draws you a card, right?
Hmm.
Like a 2/2 for 3 draws you a card.
Hmm.
If that's the first card you play, you have 6 other cards ish in your hand, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna do more for you than that card would a lot of the time. Because a lot of times you play that for 3, you draw your card and you chump with it, whatever, you lose that creature, and it helps you, kind of stall for a turn, right?
Hmm.
But if this card gains you 5, 6 life, that's more than that chump block's ever gonna do, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're still drawing the card.
Now, do you play
So
one of these in your deck, or is this is kind of on the cusp, right? Like,
I think if I'm late game, I think it's fine. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like
yeah,
but I think you like if you play this, you want it to be on turn 3
yeah,
because like later in the game, it's obviously going to be significantly worse. But I mean, so are those little tutus that draw you a card. Honestly, later in the game, you know what I
oh yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So I don't know. I feel like it's on the cusp of what's playable and what's not.
yeah,
Some people are going to play it, some people aren't. We'll see. I
yeah.
think with
I take a real assessment of my deck and just say, how slow am I, and is
yeah.
this where I really want to be?
And then when
And then
you're really that slow, it's like, can you afford to really do that on 3? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
this is low key sneaky, probably like my 24th card, and I'm really trying to shave a land.
See, yeah, I don't know. I think it's almost equivalent to those understated 3 like tutus. It's not quite, but because those tutus can still like so basically on turn 3, this is better than those to me. It's like a
Ah,
2/2 that draws you a card. I know it's crazy to say that. I know. I hear myself.
yeah, I don't know.
But if it gains you 5 life and draws you a card, That's gonna do more for you in a late game deck than a 2/2 would ever do for you.
Man,
A 2/2 is not gonna
feel like
save you 5 life.
I just feel like a 2/2 can actually just put some pressure on that.
Yeah, a 2/2 can do lots of things that this can't.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm saying in a late game deck.
I wish this
Like
gave
in
me
the
like
aggro deck, this is way worse for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, you gotta really commit to that late game strategy for this thing to be really good.
Yeah, I'm just undecided on it, but we can move on. I'm
All right.
sorry.
And then we're going into our blue combat tricks now. And so we're going to start with, well, we're starting with Desynchronize, 4 colorless and a blue. It's an instant. And then you get to target non-land permanents owners put on top of their bottom of their library. So target non-land permanent, its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library, and you get to scry 2. Now, I thought this was more of a removal spell.
Yeah, I think we dismissed that one.
Okay.
+5.
But it also is a combat trick too, because when people double block, they never expect to have one of their creatures bounce back, and then you get to essentially get that 2-for-1 there, and you get the
Yep.
scry, which is really nice too.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
really put them to the test if they want to either draw that again if it was really a good card, or you actually just get a hard removal spell and put it on the bottom of the library.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
always a fan of cards like this, and this kind of functions like a bounce spell would. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all about cards like this. I really like it. And I think cards like this have traditionally been pretty decent. And an instance, that's good too.
Yeah, this is like the minimum of what you want your 5-mana removal to do, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like it's blowing anybody away, but putting it on top, making them draw it again, you know what I mean? That's still erasing an entire turn.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So we're
Scry
gonna
2
get a
on
scry
that's
too. Is a
pretty.
nice little bonus.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I honestly think we see cards like this at 4 sometimes. We'll see them at 5. And I think this with the Scry 2 is just pretty sweet. I think that might actually prove to push this a little bit higher there. We've seen that Scry sometimes just really can, yeah, especially at that late of the game too. If you're doing 5 mana, you're probably getting to the mid or late game there. And so
Funny,
now your card density gets a little better too.
yeah, funny story.
Mm.
At Gix's Caress, the one where the opponent reveals their hand and you choose a non-land card and they discard it and you make a Power Stone. It's like a 3-mana black card.
Yes.
Had that in my pre-release pool, and
Uh-huh.
2 of the times I cast it, I hit Desynchronize and made him put it back over a lot of other things. That's what I was the most scared of at that time. So
Oh, man.
that's not nothing, right? Desynchronize is like that's what I chose to make them discard. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good, and it was absolutely backbreaking, I think, for my opponent because I think they were
Oh,
planning
yeah.
on desynchronizing something like next turn. But
Oh yeah, of course, man. When you attack a removal spell like that they've kept a lot of lands for too.
yeah,
Like I've been building towards that all game. Oops.
yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Guess you're gonna have to find another way to get rid of my 10/10 dog, and hopefully it's in the top 2 cards of your deck.
Yeah, I feel like getting rid of 10/10 is going to be pretty tough in this set.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And next up we have Colossus Rock. It's 4 colorless and a blue for a 3/3 bird creature with flash flying. So now we get a little combat trick with the flash, but it also makes you a tap Power Stone when it enters the battlefield. So you get a little bonus there. I like my removal spells giving me a little bit extra. And I'm liking this guy. I like these 3/3 flyers. They're aggressive on the instep, and they're also can tag those little soldiers that are probably going to be pecking away at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
think this
set
card's good enough that every blue deck that has 5 mana open and passes is you have to like be super play around it kind of.
Yeah, I was already sold already. Like you see these 3/3 flyers in a lot of sets with flash, and they're just normally like, okay, you get a little spirit spectral something, and it gets in there, and sometimes it kind of taps a creature or something like that. Or I think this Power Stone on it is going to be a really nice stapled on ability to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be played more often than not in later
Oh
game
yeah.
blue decks for sure.
Oh yeah. I think this thing might as well say destroy target soldier token.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere underneath that text of all the what a Power Stone does. I think it's hidden there. Just
This
look
is
look for
really
it.
like a 3/3 flyer for 3 with a disfigure and a Power Stone token attached onto it for 1 mana each.
I think
You know what I
all of
mean?
those things sound really good to me. I'm sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy sell. I'm in. I think this guy's going to be proved to be better than some of his predecessors.
I do too. I'm pretty high on him. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be pretty good.
I think so too. And then, oh man, all star here. Zephyr Sentinel, one colorless, one blue for a 2/1 human soldier. So we already got on the Robi scale, this is up one because of the soldier. And it also has flash and flying. Wow, that's super aggressive. A 2/1 flyer for 2 flash. And then when Zephyr Sentinel enters the battlefield, return up to one other target creature you control to its owner's hand. And if it was a soldier, you get to put a +1/+1 counter. So this is really trading to a 3/2 here. This guy is just gas. I mean, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Do you put 1/1 soldiers in your deck just so you can play them on turn 2 as a 3/2?
Oof, that's a
Like
very
one.
aggressive play.
Yeah, but like a 3/2 for 2 flyer is nothing to play with. Like that's a real clock.
You try to hope for those kind of things on two. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's gonna be. There's a lot of flyers at two, that can kind of tangle with this thing. I think it's just gonna be good rebuying some of your creatures, or I think it's gonna be at home there, saving your guys and maybe ambush vipering something, which is
Yeah.
super strong on its own. But I can see the line of that. Just trying to
Yeah.
go hyper aggressive in the air. Flying strategies just work. Like flat
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, you heard it here first. Flyers are good.
Yep.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. When in doubt, just draft white blue flyers and you'll do okay.
Yeah, except at my table, just they're terrible. Don't take them. Don't take them from me. Yeah, that guy's gonna be an all-star. I just think anytime you can
Yeah,
save a creature, rebuy something, destroy something, this guy just Swiss Army knife of abilities and is just absolutely aggressive too.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, so now we'll go to the black combat tricks, and we'll start with Moment of Defiance. Two colorless, a black, you get an instant, and this target creature gets +2/+1 and gains lifelink until the end of turn. Draw a card. Yeah, when I first thought about this card, I didn't think it was very good. But this draw a card on it is really just tricky. It's like this could be like that 24th, 23rd card in my deck if things are kind of going awry, and lifelink does help you kind of get there. I don't know. Unholy strength is still unholy strength, right? Like, we
I
got
mean, if you're ever feeling like you're gonna lose a game and you have a weaker deck and you really want to coin flip a game, boy, do I have the card for you.
yeah,
Either it sticks and it does what you need to do, gain
yeah.
you like at least 4 to 5 life and let you draw a card,
Hmm.
or you get blown out and you lose on the spot. It's just a coin
Yeah.
flip. It's a coin flip card to me. Um, And generally, I don't like to put those in my deck. And if you do put them in your deck, you have to be extremely careful, especially with all this kind of crap floating around for 1 mana. Like. Um, I guess there's not too much, but there's the blue unsummon, there's disfigure,
Yeah.
there's a couple things, but
I think this is just so expensive for what it is. I wish this costed two. I
if this
think this.
costed 2, it'd be outrageous.
What if it like costed two and gave you like a two scry? Would you be all right with two scry?
Instead
Or
of
is that
draw.
yeah, instead of the draw?
I mean, probably. Like I feel like this card's good enough. It's just this is one of the this is the cautionary tale that you're like if you just fire this off into open mana, you're just trying to lose the game. But if
Yeah,
you play it carefully and play it right,
yeah.
then you're gonna be fine, and it's gonna help you win a lot.
Yeah, I think cards like these are really at home in the sideboard if you're an aggressive deck and you're fighting another aggressive deck. This is the kind of card that you bring in to really break that symmetry a little bit.
I don't
And
know,
so this
man.
could get you. It can kind of, it trades up a little bit. I mean, you obviously trade up with this thing. Two power is pretty good enough to trade up, but yeah, it's just not enough toughness for you to survive it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but yeah, you get the card back. And sometimes it is, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
one toughness is like if you ever kill something, survive the combat and draw a card and gain the life,
yeah.
like you almost won the game. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like assuming your deck quality is good enough. Like
yeah,
if it does all of those things, if it gains you, let's say, you have a 3/3 and you block, another 3/3 and you gain 5 life, you draw a card and you kill their
yeah,
3/3, like that's
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff. I like all those things.
Yeah, but if you play it and you trade and you gain a life and you draw a card, that's good enough for sure. But if you play it and it gets blown out, you almost lose on the spot. So that's
It's
why
not on
it's
my high priority list, but it's kind of fun to pick one of these up like super late, which it'll be super late. This is a 15th, 14th dregs kind of down there, but it could be that one sideboard card that can really make the difference for you.
some people are really high on it. I know
Really?
that. Yeah,
Uh,
like I think limited resources was pretty high on it.
Really? Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty good when you trade up and get to draw a card. Anytime you get to draw a card on something, don't sleep on that, especially because it really, if the other cards, if the other parts around it are really strong, getting closer to those parts is pretty good. It's
Yeah.
like same thing with like Mishra's Bauble or something like that. It's like, well, I only have 39 cards in my deck now.
I mean, like it does all this stuff you want a combat trick to do for sure.
Yeah.
Like it makes your dude big enough to like punch above its weight.
Yeah.
It gains you life to stem the bleeding of losing 2 cards for 1, and then it draws you the card to replace itself. Like it does all the stuff you want to do, but it does cost 3. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
My boy LSV says it's good. I'm sure it's really good. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's better than I think it is. So we'll see.
Time will tell, LSV. Time will tell. Um,
I think Marshall. I don't remember. I don't
is it
remember.
Marshall? If it was Marshall, then
I don't think they like. I don't think they like gave it an A or anything, but they said
No,
it's pretty good.
It's a serviceable card. It's connective tissue, as I like to say. All right, next we'll have Ashnod's Intervention for 1 black. You get an instant. This is until the end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains this creature when this creature dies or is put into exile from the battlefield and return it to its owner's hand. So you get to rebuy your unearthed guys with this, which is kind of strong. I think this is pretty good. I kind of like this card.
Really?
I like the idea that you get to again punch above your weight, and then you get it back. If it has a really good come into play ability, that's pretty nice. You get to rebuy it, and then you get it back to your hand, get to recast it.
Yeah.
Pseudo vigilance in a way. If you're if you're into that kind of thing too, you just let your guy play it again.
Pseudo vigilance. That's a little. That's a little reaching.
You try to get there, but I think it's going to be it's going to be really cute when you start unearthing your guy and rebuying those things. I think that's where this is going to be at home.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of times this has been there where it just comes back to the battlefield for 1, and those are just barely playable, right? Like,
yeah. You gotta
black
find the right
mana
set.
instant +2/+0, and it dies. It just is instantly put back on the battlefield.
Yeah. I'm
So-
guessing they tempered this, or they tempered it a little bit because of the prototype guys. That would just be pretty disgusting to
Yeah.
1
Yeah,
minute
that's true.
inside of a prototype.
That's true. I mean, it's definitely a nerfed version of a card that rarely saw play, though. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, I'm kind of pessimistic on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be interesting. If you're really into value, it's going to be pretty good on your unearthed guys, though.
If you get enough of those 8/8 vigilance that when they die you get 8 mana,
Man,
you just attack for free, and then you play this and you play him out again. That's gonna feel real bad when your opponent throws 2 guys in his way to try to trade for him.
Yeah, you had an 8/8 vigilance.
Yeah. Yeah.
8/8 vigilance for 1 black. I'm in.
Yeah. You get them
Nah.
right back.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be fun. I'll probably play a couple of those. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I'm gonna try to do that for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, there's gonna be some cutesy stuff for a couple of weeks, I'm sure. And then we'll go on to our red. We'll go on to our red combat tricks. We'll start it off with a Mishra's Onslaught. 3 colorless and a red. For an instant, you get to choose one of the 2. Create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact tokens, or creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of turn. This is all right. You're gonna trade with something. Something's dying in this thing, or you're
Yeah.
winning the game. Goodness gracious. I think this is a
So-
little overcosted for what we normally want to see these things at, though.
I want you to think all the way back to Dominaria United.
Ooh,
It's gonna be hard to do, I know.
that's tough.
So they had this instant that was 2 colorless, double white, and it gave all your creatures +2/+1,
Mhm.
and you could kick it and give them trample for 2 more mana. And that costs 4 with a double white.
Yeah.
And how many times do you think that 1 toughness came into play?
Oof. Probably not often, right?
Yeah, like almost never, right?
Yeah. Okay.
How many times do you think that trample came into play?
Oof, man.
Probably not very often. For
Probably
6?
not very often. Yeah. You mean
Yeah,
attack
I
those
don't.
little
Yeah.
guys.
So I ask you this: is the option to make 2 1/1 soldier tokens a lot better than both of those things?
I think the soldier tokens are where it's at on this card.
I think the soldier tokens are a lot better than both of those things
Yeah.
because the 2 power is really what sealed the deal on winning you the games with that card. And the
Yeah.
fact that this is so modal, it can just be bodies instead. Like if you have the board, it wins you the game. If you don't have the board, it makes you the board.
Oh yeah.
I think this is going to be kind of slept on early. I do think it's going to be better than probably what I even initially said it was going to be. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm
there's
kind of
gonna be
hyping
some
myself up on
tricky.
it.
Is there gonna be some tricky go wide like soldier deck where it just like
Yeah.
a bunch of these and the uncommon make 4 dudes?
Yeah, there's the white red guy too that like whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you give something +2/+0.
Jeez. Okay.
So that's good with this. There's
Yeah.
the white guy that whenever artifact enters the battlefield, stuff you control gets flying, like a creature gets
Yeah.
flying. So
That's
this could give
interesting.
stuff flying to block. There's the green white guy that whenever you play an artifact, you get a 1/1 token. So this is two 1/1s and 2/1 tokens. Like
Like how many times we're gonna really do 3 color in this set though?
I think you might be splashing a little bit, but we'll see.
Really? 3
Yeah,
color
maybe.
splashies?
Sometimes, I
I
mean,
personally
sometimes.
I'm gonna still stay on my soapbox and just say like this is a mono-colored kind of thing with a little bit of splash. I'm gonna be playing a lot of like 11, what was it, 11-6 or something like that. What was it?
I don't know. Yeah,
11-5.
I'm not doing that, but yeah,
I'm into that. I'm in 11-6. There
I,
you go.
I'm 8-8.
8-8. That's it.
Yeah, I'm 8-8.
Flat. All right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go 11, but
Okay.
my amps go to 11.
All right. All right.
All right. Well then, but I do agree with you. This card is going to be slept upon quite a bit, and I think it's going to be good early on. You're just going to get blown out by this and wonder what happened.
Yeah, it's gonna be too late to figure it out because you're gonna be dead in a
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. Put them in a body bag.
Yeah, get them out of here. Next, that's what you're
Yeah.
saying if you play it.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, oh man. Then we also have Phyretic Blast for 3 colorless and a red instant. As an additional cost to this spell, sacrifice a creature. Well, what do I get for sacrificing a creature? Well, Phyretic Blast deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. And you get to draw a card.
Oof.
So this is fling plus a card draw. Yeah, I think this is gonna close out some games. I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like this is just like okay, I hit you with my big guy and you're dead.
Yeah. If they have red mana and a 10/10, you're just like terrified. At least I would be.
I'd be too. I think this is going to be pretty good. This is something to watch out for. I like that. This
Oh,
is the first time I've seen something where it has like it replaces itself on a fling too. It's just pretty nice.
yeah. Yeah. It
You're
makes
down
it
a
feel
card.
less bad.
Yeah, you're only down 1 card. That's kind of nice. It's not a 2 for
You're
1 on
down
yourself.
nothing, right? It's even tradesies because your creature trades for their creature, and then you draw a card to replace this,
Yeah.
or you just end the game by hitting them in the face.
I feel like I'm just gonna, I don't know. It's been tough to like. Sometimes I fling things in combat tricks. You still get that double block. You fling the guy, bada bing, bada dead.
Yeah, or sometimes they kill your dude, and in response, you just sling them and kill one of their dudes. Like that's fine. That's like
Yeah,
a 1-for-1. But
I've always
in
liked that.
this case, you get to also draw a card for that. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, is 4 enough for this to be good, or do you feel it like? I feel it's a lot of mana for that.
It is, but I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, like it's gonna be less often that you skirt evasion, like skirt removal with it. I think
Yeah,
because fling only costs 2, so
yeah,
it's way easier to keep up 2 mana than it is 4.
yeah,
But if you do, it's gonna be insane. And the fact that it has draw a card means you can just kind of proactively throw your stuff at theirs,
yeah.
which I think makes it a little bit better. Because like I don't know about you, but like with fling, it never felt good to just kill, like, to sacrifice my thing to kill their thing, right?
Oh no, yeah,
Like always had to have some extra little bonus. Like I could block something and fling it at something else, or like fling face, block something and fling face, or skirt evasion, like skirt
yeah.
removal with
Well, it's
it, or
never
like
really felt like cost efficient too. Like you think like when you get an ability like that, like a bone splitters, you get that for 1 black, and here
yeah,
you are like paying 2 for that kind of ability and maybe killing something. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not. It's always better to, and plus you gotta. It kind of makes you want to play bigger creatures as well.
yeah,
To really get the value out of this. Slinging a 1/1 soldier doesn't feel as good.
yep,
But I think it'll see some play, and I think it'll put some fear in there, especially like if they've got some big prototype guys just kind of sitting there and we're in a stalemate. Like I see 4 mana up there. That's gonna be pretty scary.
yeah. It's gonna be the scariest when they're in any sort of green and they have like green red or whatever, even if they're
Hmm.
just splashing one or the other. But I love fling. Like it's like one of my favorite cards. So I'm gonna be optimistic about this one.
I think so. I think it'll be good. I think the card draw is going to really kind of push it over. I think there's going to be some really funny lines where you're just doing the fling at the end of turn and just getting them down and then getting that extra card and seeing what you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then we also have our another combat trick is Whirling Strike. For 1 colorless and a red, you get an instant. And so target creature gets a +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample till the end of turn. Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. The
That's what he
trample's just
listed.
defensively, offensively, +2/+0. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm into this card.
Yep. Yep. Best combat trick of the format, maybe. Maybe not, but maybe.
It's possible, man. That trample's always kind of slept on, and it's a
Yep.
sneaky killer in a lot of things. And just stapling that on the first strike is pretty good too.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, I really liked Run Amok, which was +3/+3 to an attacking creature and trample.
Yeah.
This is like better because it can be defensive. I don't know.
Oh
And it
yeah.
gives the first strike. It just does a lot.
Yeah, and double block situations or triple block situations, man, a first strike just really goes a long way. And just
Or
getting that,
yeah,
yeah.
the chump with the trample. There's just
Oh
so many.
man,
There's so many
yeah,
ways that this thing's
yeah.
gonna pay off.
This thing's really good defensively, offensively. Yeah, it's just you like cards, you like your combat tricks to be able to do that.
Yep.
All right. And then we have we'll go into our green. And so we'll start it off with Fog of War, which is a 2 colorless and a green mana. And you get an instant. You gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. So that's yours and your opponent's. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures power 3 or less. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, this is kind of one of those if you're really slow. Something I kind of like about these prevent all combat damage kind of cards like this. Is this could be used defensively as well. If they're attacking with the swarm, you could just put your guys in front of it. You prevent all that damage. And all dealt by creatures. So you got to make sure that your creatures are a little bit bigger than 3 to really get the extra advantage out of this. But this can really turn the tide of war.
This is gonna be when I'm the saltiest. If I ever lose to this card, I'm gonna be upset because the card's
man.
bad. I think it's bad.
I think if you're a real late game kind of deck and you got creatures that are power 3 or more in your deck and you're trying to get there, like gaining 1 life for every creature on the battlefield, if there's a lot of soldiers out there, is going to be pretty good. And so you're just going to erase everything they've done and then you destroy their army when they think they got you, and then you just all that damage is prevented except my 4/4 is going to eat your little guy.
I mean, like I can definitely see sideboarding it, but I would never, ever, ever, ever.
Oh,
ever.
this is
I could say lots of evers.
Yeah.
Mainboard this card.
Yeah, this is a strictly sideboard card. And that's if you're really getting mowed over by a power 3 or less deck.
If you're playing Dominaria United and you're in the you're in the full domain deck against Boros aggro, this card would have been nuts, but
no,
it's a new set. So
this
we'll
is
see.
pretty definitely some sideboard fodder. What is not sideboard fodder is the next one, I think. Gaia's Gift. For 1 colorless and a green, it's an instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains reach, trample, hexproof, indestructible until the end of turn. It's a lot of abilities, and all of them are quite good. Reach is going to be the sneaky one on this one.
Yeah, I think they're all just good.
Yeah.
This is just it's so many keywords: reach, trample, hexproof, indestructible, and a 1/1 counter. Like the card's insane. This is a card you have to play around when they have 2 open mana and a green.
Yeah, this is If I see 1 green mana up, or if I see 2, a green and something else up, like I'm thinking this card every time.
Yep.
You're not gonna put me off that. I know that's there.
Yep. This is one that you definitely need to be aware of. It's just
Yeah.
+1/+1, reach, trample, hexproof, indestructible. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just for 2.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yep. And I mean lifelink indestructible was enough in the last set to be good.
It really was. Oh man, that card was such a menace.
Yeah.
I felt like it was more of just a saving my creature spell though. Sometimes I got blew out by combat, but it was mainly just like, just saving their dude from a removal spell most of the time. I was like, ooh, that's good enough.
Like it was so versatile, but this feels
Yeah.
even more versatile, honestly.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
goodness, yeah.
The lifelink was big though. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see if
I
this one
do
ends
miss
up
the
better.
lifelink on this. I actually kind of miss Death Touch on this. Kind of wish it had Death Touch. It's not too much to ask.
Yeah.
A little Death Touch next time.
Come on, Wizards. Throw lifelink and death touch on Gaia's Gift.
Yeah, give me like
It's not good enough.
Yeah. Give me like a Gix's
Like,
Gift next time,
maybe
all right?
2 or 3 1/1 counters. Come on.
Yeah.
Cost
2 or 3,
2.
what
Come
the
on.
heck? Well, if you want 3, Giant Growth is your man.
All right.
for
I'm
one
into
for 1
Giant
green, +3/+3 until the end of turn to target creature. This
Love
is
it.
an OG from Beta, Alpha,
Yep.
Beta, or OG, right off the
Always
bat.
gotta respect good old giant growth.
Yeah, you've been respecting this card for about 20 something, or for 30 years now.
Yep.
Oh man, no, this is really good. The cards like, I mean, this is the OG. If they have one green up, you got to just assume giant growth at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just be too careful and play around these forever, right? Like
No,
sometimes you have to make them have it, but just be mindful that giant growth exists. +3/+3 for 1,
Yeah.
and block accordingly if you can.
Yeah. Just don't get the fear to like never attack. I mean, really, you should always put
Yeah.
them to the test and see what happens.
Maybe not always, but a good portion. You also have to decide. Like basically, I think, and this is going to get into the weeds, so I'm going to make it real short and succinct. If you think you have inevitability, then you don't need to risk on like attacking into the giant growth. But if you think they have inevitability, you do. That's kind of the basics of Magic, I think.
That's yeah. I always just who's the beat down on this kind of thing. Who's got the onus of winning on them. Some decks just have eventuality, and I think that's always be mindful of that kind of thing.
If that's not you, and you need to win now, then you got to make them have it. And if it is you, and you don't need to win now, then you can chill out a little bit. But
yep, absolutely. And then let's see. And then also we have Tuanos's Tinkering for 3 colorless and a green. It's an instant, and you get to put. Oh yeah, this one I remember. This one. You put 2+1/+1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control. Untap that permanent. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 creature until the end of turn. In addition to its other types.
No, forever. Oh, creature forever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, forever.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what makes this really good.
Yeah,
That's what puts it over the top.
It's like a conditional 2/2 flash for 4.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I'm kind of about that. It's kind of nice.
Terrible.
Is there any kind of like, oh man, there's no untapper here. I was thinking
Yeah,
if
this
there's
untaps. This one does untap.
No, I was wondering if there was some artifact that untaps itself. Is there some infinite combo with this thing? Traditionally, when you get to reanimate something like this, and you get to like put it on some sort of mana thing or something like that, sometimes there's like an untapped kind of mechanic or something like that. No, this is fine. I think this is pretty good. You just get them with your land, or you make your deal a little bit bigger. I think you want one of these. You don't want multiples of these, and it's always pretty much going to be your last. Like, okay, I can kind of sneak this in.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, tier listener, you want absolutely 0 of these.
0. Oh man.
A conditional 2/2 flash? No.
I feel like you need to get them. You just untap your guy and get them.
No.
No. We don't see any untap effects here. This is maybe the only one.
Yeah, I don't care. No. I just like 2 counters for 4 is not good enough. First off, like it's not even close to good enough.
All right.
Like you gotta understand that you could play Disenchant and Gaia's Gift for this much mana.
That's a lot of mana. It's a lot of cards.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is 2 cards, but like and like best case scenario, you're paying 4 mana on your opponent's combat step, where if they're good, they're fully untapped, right?
Yeah.
They have all their mana up. You're paying 4, you're untapping your like 6/6 to block their 7/7, and now you have an 8/8, and just saying, gosh, I really hope they can't do anything about this. Like that's best case scenario.
Pair this with a giant growth, you're good to go.
Yeah. Just give me the giant growth and I'll just not swing with my dude. Like,
yeah, but you can't untap it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just won't swing with my dude. You know what I mean? It's fine.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put Tano's Tinkering in to help me be able to swing ever. It's bad.
I'm gonna beat somebody down with this. It's gonna feel real good. I can already see myself. I can just see it now.
If you ever hear me getting on here mad, guys, it's because Andrew beat me with Thanos' Tinkering, and I'm still gonna hate it forever. Like
I'll already call my shot too. It'll be we're deadlocked, and it's just like we're both top decking. I top deck this, animate my land at the end of turn, and just beat you down.
I swing with my 8/8. You're thinking, man, I'm about to get him. Untap my 6/6 or 7/7, whatever. Block, and I'm just gonna 1 mana unsummon it, send it right back to your hand. You're like, well, guess I lose. There goes my whole game plan.
Oh yeah. Unsummons are pretty good.
Yeah, unsummons are good.
Oh man. All right. So then we got a colorless combat trick in a supply drop. It's 3 colorless for an artifact with flash. When supply drop enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. And then for 4 mana, you can sacrifice supply drop and draw a card. I was a little down on this when I first saw it, but it's kind of cool to have just a random +2/+2 and colorless, and you get to draw a card, cash it in afterwards.
Yeah.
If you ever get to kill a creature with this and then draw the card afterwards, that seems pretty good, even for 7.
Yeah, I feel like it has to do a little bit more than what the card says, right? Like I feel like you need to have like a sacrifice synergy or an artifact enters the battlefield synergy or something to kind of make this card to where it's playable.
I don't
With that
think
being
that's hard to
said,
ask for,
I would
right?
play 4 of these before I'd play one Thanos' Tinkering.
Ooh, nice. The
I
old
mean, like the
4-1
card's
trade.
almost good enough. Like to me, like supply drop feels like on the verge. Like it's your 25th, 26th card. It's like if you have enough stuff that like makes it relevant, maybe you put it in.
I think that would be. I think there's probably a. I wonder if there's ever going to be an argument in your deck for a giant growth or a supply drop if you have enough artifact payoffs in your deck to just cut the giant growth. I don't think you're ever cutting a guy's might or guy's gift, sorry.
Oh.
But I wonder if you cut a giant growth for this thing if you
You'd
have enough
have to
payoffs.
be heavy in the artifact in the power stones, I think, too, to make it worth it.
I don't even. What do you need with the power stones?
It's like you can just use the power stones for supply drop. You don't have to use your normal mana.
Oh, I guess so. I was thinking if you were in that green white and you just go you swing in with your 2/2 green guy that gets a +1/+1 when you play an artifact,
Yeah.
and this game gets +3/+3, and now you have an artifact just sitting there too. I don't know
Yeah, I
if there's
think
anything else just to have garbage kind of laying around on the field.
I think it's playable. I mean, there's red black's also the sack deck, so
Yeah.
you can get some value of it with that. I do think it's playable. I think there's also that random rare that gives all your artifacts in red black unearth.
Ooh, yeah.
And that could be kind of cute too. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not excited to play it. I think there'll be some decks where it's like pretty decent. It's like your 18th card or something instead of your 25th. But
I think it's kind of cool to have to get a +2/+2 in any kind of color though. As a
yeah,
thing.
it's neat.
Yeah, I think it's kind of nice. I think if you're ever going in the monocolored deck, that's kind of one of those cards where you can kind of sneak that in.
Put it like this: if I'm the late game deck and you're a late game deck, and I have giant growth in my deck and supply drops in my sideboard, I'll just switch those out.
I kind of wouldn't
Right?
mind this honestly in a white blue flyers deck to
Yeah.
kind of break the symmetry of flyers and then draw a card because normally those games you're just kind of pecking away, getting some light removal there, and just want to keep the cards flowing. I don't know. This card's all right. I mean, it is definitely that last kind of card that you're putting in your deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, we're going a little bit over time with this this episode, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick and dirty rundown of soldiers. This is all speculative. We are recording this on Monday. All I've done is a pre-release. I did not play soldiers, nor did I play against soldiers. I don't know how factual my information is, but I'm pretty good at Magic, so we'll see. We'll see how right I am. So I think soldiers goes 2 decks. I think it goes Boros, or I think it goes Azorius, white blue or white red. Okay. Most of the soldiers are in white. There's like 7 common soldiers in white and 3 uncommons or something like that. If you count like the spell that makes 4 of them. I think your heavy hitters in white is the 1/1 flyer for 3 that you mill 3 cards and you can put a plains or a creature with mana value 3 or less, or make it a 2/2 flyer for 3. Because a 2/2 flyer for 3 is a fine rate, and a 1/1 flyer for 3 that draws you a card is also a fine rate, right?
Yeah, because I think Airless Chaplain's the best of the bunch for that cycle too. I mean, this guy's doing some work.
And it's not even a soldier, but it is a cleric. But I do think you're gonna want it in every single soldier deck. So I know it sounds crazy. I'm telling you to put a non-soldier in your deck, but I think that card goes in every soldier deck, and there's a disconnect.
Soldier deck's the Airless Chaplain.
Yeah, it's not even a soldier. But I also think Scrapwork Cohort kind of goes in every soldier deck. It's the 4 mana 3/1 that makes a 1/1 and you can unearth it. I think that just making 4 bodies on 1 card is nuts.
Yep.
And it's just efficient at doing it on the unearthed part anyway.
Absolutely.
So those are the 2 commons that are going to go in every soldier deck. And after that, there's a huge disconnect in the commons. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The uncommons, I think, go in every soldier deck. Is just the 2 1-for-1. They can pay 4 and look at the top 4 and reveal a creature with mana value 3 or less and put it in your hand. Like, obviously, you want to do that. And it's a 2 1-for-1 and it's a soldier. That's what you want to do. It's called Recruitment Officer.
Yeah.
I think Evolving Wild slots in the soldier deck and not in a lot of other decks because a lot of other decks need their land. And so filtering their land out of their deck is going to hurt them from getting to that 8 to 10 mana. So I think as the format progresses, Evolving Wilds will be more open to the soldier decks. Whereas at the soldier decks, if you draw too much land, it's going to really hurt you because you're just going to lose to those like
Now, does having
inroads.
it come into play tap land hurt you more?
I don't think so. I think it's better to just to get those lands out of your deck and get whatever color you need.
I just
Because
feel
you can like it's not very often that your hand goes 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop. Like in realistically, you know what I mean.
yeah.
So there's usually a turn there that you can say, okay, well I can play my Evolving Wilds here, and I'm not gonna really miss anything.
I can see that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not. It depends on my curve, I guess. Like if I have a lot of ones and twos, I mean, I want to have a lot of ones now with this recruitment officer
Right. And so you can
going
just
on
play it on
there.
3, right? You can just play it on
Yeah,
3 or you can play it on 4, whatever. Like
I think
there'll
you.
be somewhere you can play it and it's not
Yeah,
gonna hurt you.
yeah. I can see that.
I'm a huge believer of like evolving wild type lands in aggro decks. Even though it does come into tapped,
Yeah.
it still takes 2 lands out of your deck for the price of 1, and you like drawing lands like flooding is a death sentence for aggro decks. Other
Yeah,
decks can win flooding, but aggro decks can't.
I just want to curve out and stomp them, like
Yeah,
curve stomp.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where the decks vary. So the like there's only 2 commons that go in both of the decks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not counting like removal and stuff, whatever, but like this is bodies mostly. So the white blue deck is flyers, I think. And
Sweet.
it's funny that you mentioned it earlier, but the white blue deck is flyers, and there's a lot of soldiers that are flying. There's the 1/2 flash flyer for 2, 3/3 flying or sorry, 2/2 flying prowess for 3. That one's blue. There's a 2/1 for 2 that you can pay 3 and give another soldier flying. That card's iffy. That's kind of feels like a trap and maybe not as strong because you can only target another soldier with it. So it's like not as good as it looks. But if there is a deck that slots into it, it's the white blue soldier deck, obviously. But be careful because you can only target a soldier with that. I put that on here as kind of a warning. And then you kind of want your top end. You have to choose a path here. I think you're either going Aeronaut Cavalries as your top end,
Mhm.
which are the 3/4 flyers that put another soldier on or put a 1/1 counter on another soldier you control,
Mhm.
or the Power Blade, which is 3 mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +2 +0, and it only costs 1 to equip a soldier. So I think either one of those are kind of fine as a quote unquote top end for your soldiers deck because buffing your 1/1s into 3/1s and swinging with them, or your flyers +2 +0, that's significant, and a 3/4 that puts a counter on something also good. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of interested to see which one of these takes over. I'm leaning towards the cavalry at the beginning because it's a tried and proven 3/4 for 5 that does something. It's going to be good. I think the Power Blade's close though. I think it's closer than people think. Again, this is all speculative, so I could be completely wrong.
I think the higher your token count, the higher the veteran's blade goes.
I think the same is true with flying too. Like
Yeah.
tokens and flying make the veterans blade better. I think the veterans power blade is better in the white blue deck though than the white red deck.
I
That's
would
what I
assume
think.
that. Yeah.
Obviously the Sentinel we talked about, the flash flying 2/1. The return summon is going to be insane in this deck. It's going to save your flyer and come in as a 3/2.
Yeah.
And others, the 3/4 we're at uncommons now. The 3/4 soldier for 4, a white and a blue that gives all your other soldiers +1/+1 is going to be sick.
Yeah.
I think Hulking Metamorph is the 9 mana 7/7 that copies something, and you can prototype it for 2 and double blue as a 3/3 and it copies something.
Mhm.
I think that should just be looked at as a 3/3 flyer or a 7/7 flyer in this deck. Most likely a 3/3 flyer that's also a soldier, maybe has prowess, maybe gives something a 1/1 counter, maybe return something to your hand and gets a counter. I think that's going to be very good. Like a 3/3 flyer for 4 is very good,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And any sort of upside on it, it's going to be good. And then Reconstructed Thopter's 3 colorless for a 2/1 flyer and has Unearth for 2 colorless. I think that's just going to be super good in this deck. I mean, the white blue deck is the flyer deck,
Yeah.
and so draft flyers. Like it's really that easy. Don't overcomplicate it. Hulking Metamorph is better in this deck because Hulking Metamorphs that fly are way scarier than ones that don't. So
Yeah.
then the white red deck is the go wide deck. It's Boros soldiers, but it's
Yep.
not really that much soldiers. There's not really a soldier synergy really in the
Mm.
white red. You get more of a payoff for just having good dudes. So
Yeah.
Blitz Automaton is the 6/4 haste for 7, but it can be a 3/2 haste for 3. 3/2 haste for 3 is pretty good.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
This
Yep.
guy's going to be good. I think my early assessment of this guy was a little false. I think getting the 7 is going to be easier than I thought, and I think a 6/4 haste for 7 is actually pretty reasonable too.
Yeah, this is a card you definitely want in your aggro deck because if you do ever flood out, you still have a 6/4 haste, and you're definitely never hesitating to play this on 3.
Yep.
Ever. You know what I mean? So that's good. Scrapwork Mutt, 2 mana, 2/1, enters the battlefield, discard a card. If you do draw a card and has unearthed for 1 in a red, so it's 2 colorless normally and then unearthed for 1 in a red.
Yep.
Meat and potatoes of a good aggro deck is that you don't flood, you get what you need when you need it. This helps you do that. This is one of the better 2-drops in the Boros aggro deck, if not the best 2-drop in the Boros aggro deck at common, I think.
Yep.
At common. I do want to
Agreed.
specify at common. So next you have Falaji Chain Dancer. I'm still unsure about this.
God.
This is the 4 mana 2/4. It is a soldier, and you can pay 2 to give it double strike. I don't know if this really slots into it that well, but I will say if you have enough of the white red payoffs where something else gets +2/+0 when a soldier enters,
Yeah.
then it'll be super good. But you'd have to have at least 2 of those, maybe even 3, for you'd even think about it. You know what I mean?
Like, how many weeks are you gonna give this guy a chance before you realize that he's bad?
I think I'm just playing him mostly in the red green deck.
Okay.
With giant growth, because like he's
Yeah.
terrifying with giant growth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably bad. He's probably bad in the Boros deck. But if you do have enough of the red white uncommons that whenever another creature enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0, then you play it. I kind of put him on here more as like a warning. Like this is kind of a trap. It's not really an aggro card. It looks like one, but you have to spend your mana to make it good. And spending your mana making the creature that's already on the battlefield good, it's often not as good as just putting more things on the battlefield, right? So
Yeah.
next up we have Whirling Strike. This is the 2 mana instant we talked about earlier. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. Insane. You're gonna want 3 or 4 of these. You want these more than removal, I think, most of the time, honestly, in the Boros aggro deck. Like this is what you want to do. This is the card that enables you to attack into their stuff and make them think, wait a minute, do I really want to block that? You burn them once, it's gonna hurt them. You burn them a second time, you're gonna win. You know what I mean? So I think Whirling Strike is the MVP of this deck. And oftentimes these cards go better in aggro decks because your opponent does not have time to sit back and wait to remove your stuff. They have to put stuff on the board. They have to throw it in front of your stuff, knowing the risk that they could get blown out, and you're going to blow them out with it.
Yep.
So next you have Survivor of Corliss. This is the 1 mana 1/1 first strike soldier. That can only go in the Boros deck. Don't put it in the white-blue deck. It'll be bad in the white-blue deck. It can only go in the Boros deck, I think. I mean, a 1/1 when you're trying to go all air and then you have a 1/1 first striker on the ground, what does that do for you, really? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't do anything.
I think it's more Scry 2 that's probably going to be the better thing there.
Yeah, but you want it to like be able to threaten to do something.
Nah,
so
that's not going to do much. Yeah, you're right.
And then next we have Mishra's Domination. That's the enchantment that if you control it, give something +2/+2. Otherwise, it can't block. I think that slots right into this aggro deck because when you need to push the damage through, you can give something +2/+2, or when they put out their 1/4 lifelinker, you can make it to where it can't block. And those are both things that you want to do. It looks like a bad card. You're not taking this highly. You'd play Whirling Strike over this no matter how many Whirling Strikes you had. But if you don't have the Whirling Strikes, you can put this in. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Sounds good.
Next, you have Mishra's Onslaught. Make 2 1/1s at instant speed or give yourself +2/+0. Classic finisher with the backside of helping you out when you still need to establish that board. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get board wiped. Sometimes you need to rebuild. Stuff happens. Sometimes you need it. You'd rather it be a game winner, though. And then uncommons, you have the 1/1 artifact soldier for colorless that when it attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn and has unearth. I don't think you can really afford to play that in the white-blue deck because you don't have the buffs to back it up. People are just going to block it and kill it with any 2-drop. So I think it can only go in the white-red deck. Falaji Vanguard is the 2 mana red-white human soldier. It's a 2/3. Has first strike, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This card is actually insane, and in doubles, it's going to be absurd to deal with. Like, if you get multiples of these in your deck, it's going to be impossible to. I don't know. It's like just imagine having 2 of those out and then casting Mishra's Onslaught. It's just insane.
Yeah,
even just one. Yeah, even just one is going to make combat a nightmare. And then there's also Hornstone Seeker, which is a 2/2 menace for 2. It's going to be good in every red deck, but it's going to be pretty good in the White Soldiers deck because it's a 2/2 menace for 2. And
Do the Soldiers deck need the Power Stone of this guy, or is it just good as a menace guy?
It's just good as a menace guy. I mean, obviously you're seeing, Blitz Automaton, Scrapwork Mutt, some stuff we can kind of do with Power Stones. You know that soldier we said at the beginning of the 3/1 that makes a 1/1. Some stuff where the Power Stones can kind of help us get there sometimes, but most of the time, 2/2 menace for 2 with the buffs to back it up. It's going to be pretty scary to block.
It seems like the 1-drops are going to be super important in this deck.
I don't know if they're going to be super important, but they're playable in this deck. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're playable in any other deck.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This is, like I said, this is speculation. This is something I like to do in theory craft and think like, is this card really like? I know this card says soldier, but should I put it in my white deck? Should I put it in my red deck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are my thoughts.
All right.
What do you think?
I
Am I
think that
wrong?
I think that the Boros Soldier deck is a little less supported than the blue white one, which is kind of funny to think of a soldier deck being blue white, as beat down.
Yeah.
But I think there's just a lot of good pieces here where you can kind of cobble something together with this Boros deck. I mean, it looks super aggressive, even
Yeah, I
with
mean, I don't think it's necessarily a soldier deck because I don't know that there's that many payoffs. Like, yeah, you
yeah,
can still play that, that power blade or whatever, +2/+0, but it
yeah,
just feels worse in the Boros deck because, like, to play that and equip it for 4 just feels
mhm,
like, oh God, wouldn't you just rather have a Whirling Strike? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
yeah.
It's just
Well, I think it's kind of cool. I mean, it definitely shows me that there is a lot of beat down in Boros, though. My goodness, it's going to be really tough to just block anything in Boros.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna
man.
be scary for sure.
I wonder how good that Yothin frontliner is with a Mishra's domination on it, just like going to town.
Yeah, I
Like
wish
that's what I
it.
was thinking. These one drops with the Mishra's thing is pretty good. I remember those mechanical rages or something like that, where they're just like, okay, it's just +2/+2, go for it,
Yeah,
get
yeah. I
in
mean,
there.
it's like a must answer thing, and like
Yeah,
if you okay, so I think like the Ocean frontliners maybe not as good with it on it
I think the Survivor
because
Corliss is going to be hella good with it on it though.
yeah, because like what really kills a 3/3 for you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
what actually kills a 3/3 if you stick it? Like if we go back to the removal, disenchant doesn't get it. Machine over matter unsummons it, at which point you're like, that does hurt. But
yeah,
that's the worst. Overwhelming remorse kills it for 5 or 4 or 3, which you're fine with because you
yeah,
already got, 6 damage in at least.
yeah,
Disfigure doesn't get it. Go for the throat gets it, which I mean, that's kind of even. But like those are like the premium things that get it, and then Unleash Hell and Deadly Riposte get it, but I don't know. And then there's mostly sorcery ways to get it, I think.
yeah.
And
Man, that seems pretty good. I feel like there's just a really fun like Mishra's domination just low to the ground with blitz automatons just getting in there and just putting so much pressure on your opponent that you just can't get out. Like it's going to be so hard to stabilize that board. Even with the scrap work mutts just kind of getting in there too and just smoothing out those draws. Yeah,
yeah,
it looks pretty frightening.
yeah. I mean, I think ideally you're putting your Mishra's domination on their stuff so it can't block. I think, right?
I think at different portions of the game, like I think
Yeah.
if you have a one drop and you got the Mishras in and you got the Mishras domination, like I think you just throw on the one drop and just try to go for it. Answering a 3/3 that early is very tough, or even on that
Yeah.
the Midas guy. But I think as the game goes on, like past turn 4, then you're probably putting it on your opponent's creature to get that last point of damage in.
I mean, I feel like if you have the one drop, let's say you go first, you play the one drop,
Hmm.
they land and pass.
Yeah,
You have a 2 drop and the domination. You're
yeah.
definitely playing the 2 drop there, right? Not the domination.
I think you build the board a little bit there.
Yeah, you build the board. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket unless it's like game 3 and he doesn't have any
Oh man,
removal,
sometimes with
but
that first strike and you just go to town, and it's
yeah.
like that's really tempting to do,
You know
and
what
just
I'm excited to do?
uh
Mishra's domination on their stuff so it can't block and then threaten it, gain control, and give it the +2/+2 to win. It's gonna be
That's kinda
adorable.
funky, yeah, I like that, that's kinda
Yeah.
cool.
It's gonna be
That's kinda
weird.
cute, I like that.
It's gonna be adorable.
Yeah, it's gonna be adorable when they're just like, "What? No, they can't block," and you're like, "No, no, no, they
Oh,
can do it
you really putting cat block on my 1/2 flyer?
now."
Okay. Well, no, you swing back at him. It's a 3/4. Yeah, and it buffs your whole board or something. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be good stuff. It's gonna be
yeah,
see, fun little combos there. Remember these things.
yeah. But yeah, I don't
Don't
know. I
forget
don't
them
know if
against
either of
Jimmy.
these decks will be good enough to get past like gaining 6 life for 7, but we'll see.
I don't know, maybe so, I mean, this is a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
That's a
like
lot of pressure.
I still think a 3/3 for 4 that gains 3 life almost shuts this whole deck down, but I don't know. I mean, the whirling strikes, really make or break you, and everyone's gonna see those and recognize them as being good. So I think it's gonna be hard to get. But I don't know.
And you got a lot of removal too. You're gonna have the excavation explosion to try to get there. You're gonna have obliterating bolt. Obliterating bolt probably gonna be your best, right? Like the most premiums right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get the prison sentences too. The pacifisms or the side nets or whatever. But
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be a lot of stuff to get this thing going. The prison sentence probably really kind of shines a little bit more in this deck because you get this anti-flood there. Yeah. I don't know. Boros will be fun. I think it's cool. I'm kind of anxious to play this now. Although that white soldiers deck looks so good. The white blue soldiers deck.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think the air marshals will trap with me? The target soldier gains flying for 3.
I think that's going to be one of those things where I don't think I've seen very many ground. Maybe there's some really chaff, kind of like really low cut soldiers that are like probably not the best.
I mean, like your 3/1, you'd love to give that flying, like your scrapbook cohort, your 3/1 that makes a 1/1.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate this guy doesn't have flying himself.
Yeah, given like if it just said gives another creature flying, man, I think I could really get behind it.
I think it would have a blue mana symbol in front of it though, or behind it. It'd be like 2 and a blue or something, or maybe 1 and a blue.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point when there's like a 2 mana equipment that gets +1/+0 and flying that you can like equip for 2 or something, like I'd way rather play that than this guy. I think, but like if you need a 2-drop, it's fine, right? You need a 2-drop, it's fine. He happens to be a soldier, whatever.
Maybe someone will forget that he doesn't have flying.
Oh yeah, people do that all the time. Like, well, the card has wings on it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, just
like
give
it
them the hard
flies.
stare when you attack with it. Just don't even blink. Just stare them down, and they're gonna be like, "All right, take it." Have your mana on tap though.
Yep, that's my thoughts. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? We'll see.
That seems pretty good. So, what are you drafting week 1?
Whatever's open, baby. That's what I always do.
Open? All right, you're not forcing the deck. All right.
Nah, I don't force. I don't force.
I'm gonna force this Boros deck. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I force later into the draft when tendencies become apparent. I start to notice things that are open that I feel like shouldn't be, or I'm playing arena and I get drafted like a cool thing, and I'm like, I just want to do it. But I don't. I try my best not to force anything.
You're just gonna open another Gix Priest Yawgmoth Praetor and just run it back.
Yeah, I mean, whatever happens. I think I always remember back to Kamigawa when I told you guys that Boros Go Wide was a thing, and he was like, nah. And like it probably wasn't a thing really, but in our meta it was. And then I drafted it and it did pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of fun. That was a good strategy. And just the oath.
Yeah. Oath is good. Who knew?
Those are real good. Oh man, still really good. Go on to just draft Oath this quick draft weeks. For the next couple weeks, just draft them on quick draft. They're good. Splash them every time. Worth it. You'll thank us.
Yep.
Thank a packmate for that one.
Yep. Splash the oaths for sure.
Yeah, splash.
They just win games. Splash up to 6 of them.
6. That's nice. Well, I'm looking forward to doing a draft with this, and I think it's kind of cool that we're going over some of these archetypes and seeing all the stuff that we got to watch out for with these combat tricks and all the stuff that we need to watch for when we're drafting in the removals.
Yep. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya at the card shops.
Catch y'all on the flippity flop. Peace out.